Hi, I'm Amanda with Time Travel Hypnosis and Northwest Arkansas Out There Mom. And this is another video on a topic that's a little out there. What happens after you die? So I am a certified hypnotist and I specialize in past life regressions. So of course I do a lot of these for myself, both from recordings, and then I have friends and other hypnotists I trade with. And so I've seen a lot of past lives. And in the process of seeing the past lives, I've also seen, you go through the death process and you see what happens after you die in that life. And then in one of them, I also saw the part where I was planning one of my lives, because during that past life regression, I saw something that didn't make sense to my brain. My human brain just couldn't accept what I was seeing. It was too traumatic. And so I remember asking in my mind, like, why am I seeing this? This is terrible. That's the one. Well, you can see all of my, not all of my past life regressions I've done on myself, but a lot of them, or several of them, are on timetravelhypnosis.com. I think they're under, I think there's a tab at the top that says past lives, and then there's a subheading that says my past lives, and those are my personal ones. So anyway, the one sort of life planning session, and if you've read any of Michael Newton's books, he talks about life planning. I'm not sure who else talks about that. Maybe Dolores Cannon. Anyway, so in that life planning session, we looked like we had human shapes, but we were made of light. Like, you couldn't really make out any characteristics. Like, you couldn't see people's eyes or nose or mouths or fingers. It was just like an outline, like a shadow, only made of light. It was sort of glowing. So that was interesting. And in that also, there was no scenery. There was no background. We weren't in a room. We weren't in a building. It was just, everything was black. There was nothing. It was like we were standing on a plane, but there wasn't a floor there. But it also didn't feel like we were floating. So that was different. So in that one, I had a guide, and the guide was the only one who looked human. And it looked like an older guy in a toga or something, like really, like ancient Greek or something. I don't know. Anyway, so very friendly. There was no negative emotion there at all. There was nothing in that space that was negative. I mean, we all understood somehow each other's motivations and intentions. And anyway, so at the point where I jumped in this experience, I saw a group of beings, the light beings. There must have been, I don't know, maybe 20 standing in a group, and I knew that I had just made agreements with each of them to do something. I had no understanding of, oh, that one I'm doing this with, and that one I'm doing this with, and I just knew that I had made agreements, like, at some point I'm going to meet you in this life, and we're going to work something out. So it was the point in the life where somebody had to take the main role, and so this person just sort of zoomed up in front of me, this person, this light being, another light being, and I knew that I had never been introduced to this being before. I didn't know who that was, and he volunteered. He said, I'll do it. And then at the time, I remember that the other group of people that I'd already talked to, there was sort of like a collective gasp, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. This is amazing, like it was something like really spectacular. And I thought, me, the human, was like, I don't get it. Why are they freaking out about this? So my guide was like, yeah, that's, that would be cool if you agree to it. And I was like, well, if my guide says, then, we should do it. Well, it turns out, he was the bad guy, and I got killed by this person. And the reason my brain couldn't wrap my head around it was because it's a good friend of mine in this life. And I was like, there's no way that this person could have done such a horrible thing, because the first thing I saw before I saw the planning part was the horrible life, and I was just like, no, there's no way. No, it's not possible. So then, you know, I got shown the planning, and it wasn't because this person was horrible. It was because I thought at the time it was because they were willing to help me learn this really hard thing, but it was done with love. Like, there isn't any horribleness in that other space. But now, after I watched that video about how, you know, we're putting ourselves in the dark to see, you know, either how long it can take us to get back to the light, or can we get back to the light, or can we thrive this far away in the dark? And so now I feel like the reason that there was that collective gasp from all the other souls or light beings was because they were like, wow, you guys are going way into the dark. You know, like maybe they had never experienced anybody going that deep into the dark, because that was really a long ago lifetime. Like I couldn't even get a date. I mean, we had clothes on, but it was like I was in a cave or something. We were living in caves. So yeah, not that has anything to do with, not that time has anything to do with your point on the evolutionary scale, because I really believe that time in the other place doesn't exist, that we can come back and live, you know, 5 lives in the same time period. I mean, I think on that site I also have linked to my latest regression where I was somebody that's still alive today, which kind of will mess with your head, to be honest. It messed with, you know, it took me a while to wrap my head around that, because I found that person. It involved a murder, and I found my sister had gotten murdered in that life, and I found her. I didn't think there was any way I could find a murder victim from recently. I thought there would be too many of them. Anyway, so that was interesting to me. That's the only time I've ever seen like myself in light being form, because every other time I've done a regression where you go through the life and then you describe what comes next, and there's always, a lot of times, you know, my clients will describe floating. After you die, you sort of float, and you just sort of float there for a while. And then when I move them along, then they usually see a loved one from that life will come and greet them. A lot of past life regression books talk about how loved ones will greet you after you died, and so that's pretty common. So as far as that goes, you know, I think that's pretty common. You die, you still look like yourself from that life, and usually someone you know comes, you know, to greet you, or your guide, or you recognize them, you know who it is. But my question is, do you always see, like I seem to always see the afterlife immediately after death as the person who just died. So like, I can't go to, like the past life that I just described about the guy whose sister died. When he died, he ended up in this huge building, like with a sort of a big open skylight area at the top and a big open space, and all the people were sort of like wearing white, and I saw some people carrying clipboards, and I was both him, and then I was like this observer watching him, seeing what he was doing. And he was kind of just like standing there looking like himself. It seems like he even had a hospital gown on, and he was just thinking, where are my people? Where is my group? Where are my people? And it's not like he was saying, where's my mom? Where's my dad? Where's my little sister? Where's my wife? Anything like that. He's like, where's my people? Where my group? And then I had another life where I came out of it, and it was like I was coming out of a room in a building. So I died in that life, and then the next thing I knew, I was closing the door. Like I was closing the door to a room where there was a big chess tournament going on, and I had been involved in that chess tournament, but then I was out. Like I was done. My part was over. I got out, and the people were still playing chess in there. So that was interesting. Then I shut the door, and this friend of mine walked down the hall who I knew it was a friend of mine in this life, didn't look anything like the person does today. And they were saying, wow, you did so great. You stuck to your convictions, and you did exactly what you went in meaning to do. And I remember just being in this state of, wow, that was really traumatic, and I've got to, think about this and process this for a while, because, wow, I don't know, that was hard. And then we walked down this hallway, and it was a white hallway full of, like, rooms and stuff, and then, it cut. Because when you're in hypnosis, you feel like everything has gone very quickly, and really it's been an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours. So it's weird. You don't see as much as, like, I wish I could do it for like 5 hours and get really detailed information, or maybe I need to go back and look at something, but it seems like it changes when you go back, and it's maybe not the same information. So anyway, so that's very interesting. And if you've done past life regression, you've had it, or you've done spiritual regression where you've seen between lives, I would love comments about like what you've seen, or if you have more than one lifetime to compare what you've seen in the afterlife. Because most people who write about it say that the experiences are fairly common, and I guess they are, as far as, you usually will be greeted by somebody that you know, and you look humanish and stuff. But I'm wondering why the experience is so different from that. The afterlife is so different from the life planning part that I saw. So anyway, if you have anything to share about that, I would love to hear it, because I love talking about this stuff. And I'm sorry my video's jiggly. I couldn't get my laptop to record video last time. I lost a whole video because it was corrupted, so I got my phone hanging on something here, and it's not very stable. Anyway, leave me a comment, and let me know what you think, because like I said, I love talking about this stuff. And that's it. I will see you next time. Bye.